All right, so we're going to call the acting police chief. He called me this morning, finally, after how long? And then he literally just lied to me the entire goddamn time. This is why it is not okay for them to make us set up a fucking appointment when we're being fucking abused because they never fucking keep their goddamn word. 18 fucking months of this bullshit.
30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday through Thursday. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. To dial by first name, press 0. For the City Police Department, please press 1. For the You have reached the Tillamook City Police Department. If this is an emergency, hang up and dial 911. Our office is open to the public from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Thursday. If you need to talk to an officer right now, hang up and call 503-815-1911. But if you have a question regarding records, property, or
Hello, this is Sean Schwartz. Would you please get Mr. Troxell to get a hold of me, like, now?
Okay, what's a good phone number for you?
You should have it on your computer.
I need you to verify that number, please.
It's the one I called from, and you don't need me to verify it, just in case there's a safety issue. However, lucky for me, I can pause this recording for a second.
Have him give you a phone call as soon as he's available.
Well, as soon as he's available, it took almost a year, so maybe he should get on it. He called me this morning. I wasn't able to record the call. It wasn't an appropriate call. He really should have taken it seriously instead of pawning me off on my predators yet again. All right. This situation with his officers needs to be remedied. It needs to be taken seriously. And enough of this running around in circles. Everybody's on vacation. Everybody will finally get back to me in Wednesday, Friday, whenever. They literally never do. All right. You have any idea how much abuse I had to go through because your deputies and your officers wanted to be harmful to me for trying to turn them in? Do you have any idea how many assaults I've had to endure to get blown off every step of the way by every single officer for Troxell to call me today and literally blow off everything that I said and tell me that I have to send my evidence to you guys so that you can investigate yourselves? You've already retaliated against me for trying to turn in dispatch. You've already retaliated against me for trying to turn in the officers. What more can you do? You've already destroyed every part of my life. Get this dude to call me back.
I will have him call you as soon as he's available.
Oh, that was fucking swell over. See, that's the thing about not having a fucking friend or family member to make these goddamn calls with me. None of these fucking people at the library give a holy fuck if I'm beaten down in the parking lot. They don't give a shit if people kick the fuck out of my car and put fucking rocks through my window. Neither do these fucking cops. To them, I'm not disabled, I'm retarded. I'm some retard for them to pick on. I'm some retard for them to look the other way when they're being friggin' harmed. They're not allowed to take their trap out on black people anymore. Might as well take it out on a homeless man. No, it's not okay that in a few days' time he might. What's he going to do in a few days' time? He's done absolutely nothing to gain my trust, just like the situation here at the library. There's lots of people who work here at the library that want to have complete trust in their boss, but you know what? Their boss is trash. These police are not going to do their jobs. They didn't do their jobs when I got here. They're not going to do their jobs now, especially knowing I'm trying to turn them in. Not only that, it's against the law for them to force me to go to these police officers. It's against the law for them not to investigate the friggin' crimes against me. But who cares? I'm not allowed to have any sort of emotional reaction. I am stuck in public. I am stuck in places where I am physically harmed, and I know the staff aren't going to do anything about it. Meanwhile, this is where I am forced to go by the police and by TFCC to try to do this stuff. This is inappropriate to force someone to do at the library. It's going to take me literally dozens of hours to go through everything that I recorded just yesterday. No, I don't have dozens of hours to do that. I wouldn't have to record if I had a safe place to do it. You know, I tried taking this shit to Dawn. I tried explaining to him, hey, people are assaulting me in your fucking parking lot. What am I supposed to do? What are your protocols in this situation? Do you call the cops if someone's being assaulted here? Oh, we usually just talk to them. What the fuck am I going to go to that guy for? So, of course, what do? I come here to the library where it is decidedly an unsafe situation because Dawn isn't going to do anything if I'm assaulted. And this is where I am sent as a disabled adult to try to get help. This is insanity. Meanwhile, this room echoes like you wouldn't believe. I have to whisper at the screen. Hello, this is Sean Schwartz. Mr. Troxell created a pretty serious safety issue on top of the safety issues that already existed. It would be nice if we could get this taken care of before I'm taken advantage of or beaten up again, or have more windows or on my vehicle broken out.
I just spoke with you and I just advised Troxell to give you a phone call.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Troxell, all he wanted to do this morning was argue. I can't possibly go through all of the recordings that I have in 3 hours at the library. I've literally been here for 2.5 hours and just now was able to get this thing started. Jesus, we got a retarded dude coming on here and treat me like a retard. What do we do with these retards? You already know it. This guy's made accounts here before. Pretty simple. Bye-bye. Now this Troxell feller wanted to blame the DA. It's all the DA. Well, the DA blames the police department. It's the police's job to do this. Troxell says it's the DA's job. Really? Well, this is the problem I've had this entire time, is that it's nobody's job. I get run around in circles. It's not that I don't try to turn it in. It's that the police lie to all of the witnesses that aren't willing to lie. The problem is all of these people have the opportunity to do this in a way that keeps us safe. That is, together. When I have to take your word for it, yeah, your phone number is getting posted up on YouTube. This shit is not going to fucking fly. I will give out every piece of personal information about you that I can. I'll give out your birth date. I'll give out your social security number. I will give out everything that your mama gave you. You're going to say, oh, but my rights, my rights. Oh, you don't give a holy goddamn when it's my rights, do you? It's only wrong if it happens to you, huh? What's the difference here? Am I posting this up to retaliate against you? No, you're a piece of shit because you're a piece of shit. I'm posting your number up so people can get a hold of you in case they're wanting to do an investigation. In case one of these pieces of shit does get their hands on me. Because I ain't the only victim here. And just because if I was shot, not a goddamn one of you would ever try investigating it, doesn't mean that there aren't children whose information is on here that does need to be heard. Actual victims of actual abuse. Not dumb druggy whores pretending like somebody might want to touch their willy. The piece of shit, Troxell, the dumb son of a bitch, literally talked over everything that I said, every single safety issue, wanted to repeatedly tell me that his officer's report says something different. Well, yeah, bitch, that's why I recorded this shit, because your fucking officers are liars. And then this piece of shit wants me to give this evidence to his officers so they can what? You want me to give these pieces of shit another fucking opportunity to fucking bully me, you fucking trash monster? Jesus goddamn Christ, Troxell. You're fucking brain dead, dude, not bulletproof. You realize the difference, right? Obviously not. See, here's the thing. In order for me to trust these people, they have to not repeatedly interrupt me to make excuses for my goddamn predators. What's Troxell's bitch ass gonna do? Repeatedly interrupt me to make excuses for my goddamn predators. I got a lot of fucking crimes I gotta turn in, and what's this piece of shit doing? Wasting my fucking time. Leaving me out here to be harmed further by his officers, by the DA, and of course, by the predators in this town. And there are a lot of them. I can't think of a single person in this town as anything other than a predator at this point, other than myself. Let's take a look at Paul over there at the Safeway. Yeah, sure, he was a witness to some of the abuse, but his ex was accusing him of sexual assault, so he can't tell the truth. Huh. I'm pretty sure people accusing me of stuff doesn't stop me from telling the truth. So this Troxell feller, being useless as tits on a fucking boar, is in charge of Tillamook. He's in charge of all these jackasses with badges running around doing this shit. And he repeatedly wanted to make excuses for those piggies. And he wants to do his investigation just based on what his piggies wrote. Well, first of all, fuck your piggies. Second of all, we need to focus on evidence. Third of all, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? See that with Nick Troxell being a world-class piece of shit that he is. He lied to Claire Jordan. Of course, Claire Jordan is not an honest person, is she? No, she's not. At least she kept her eyes on the prize. She wanted her kids. She got her kids back. Now she can at least do something to make amends for the shit that she did, the shit that she pulled. Is she going to? No. These officers are knowingly, willingly, and intelligently taking advantage of me, knowing what they're doing. Knowing that I'm disabled, they are still willing to commit felonies. Begs the question, what did they do that's so bad to begin with? Those are just misdemeanors. But they're mandatory reporter misdemeanors, which would bar them from working in law enforcement. Troxell is trash. He could prove me wrong, but he won't. He'd have to arrest every officer on his department, and I don't think he'd like that. He also wanted to make excuses for... Hello?
Hi, it's Nick Troxell from the police department.
Hello, Nick. There's a lot of issues that do need to be brought up. The thing is, until we've done something about the safety issues created by the police, it's not safe for me to turn anything to them. The other thing is 1 hour a day is not enough for me to go through this evidence, let alone be able to send it in to all the places that I'm expected to send this stuff to. And mind you, you're not the only person who has expectations of my internet time. There's a lot of evidence that I only have access to while I'm here, and that's the majority of it. I've got that 3 hour time period. I've literally got 24 minutes left until I got to vacate the room because my time's almost up. There still needs to be a way for me to turn in these officers and the crimes that they've committed. And I literally can't even go through the things that I recorded yesterday. There's not enough time.
Can do you have a pen and paper or a pencil? You can just write all this down.
I have nerve damage from an assault by an officer in Boulder, Colorado. That's one of the major issues with Natalie Bollinger and it being blown off, such as the situations with Andrew Wolnez assaulting me and things like that. I've repeatedly tried showing your officers, including trying to show Lothman the other night. He got bored after watching part of one video and was very much just wanting to get out of there. Your officers are straight up bullies to the homeless, and they don't differentiate one homeless from the other as far as that goes.
Okay, what can I do for you today?
Well, sir, there needs to be a way for me to actually turn this stuff in that your officers have committed. And the issue that I am having with this massive overflow of evidence is that I've been harmed since day one coming to this town, and your officers created a safety issue with even turning anything into them from the very start. They refused to talk to witnesses, and over again, I've spoken with these witnesses to check in and see if the officers went and talked to any of them. The cops never talked to the Scudders. They never tried talking to any of the witnesses as far as down at the Shell station or trying to get the evidence there.
Sean, do you remember we talked for over 27 minutes about this earlier today? So is there anything new information you want to provide? Because
well, that's the thing is that it wasn't a we talking. It was a mostly you talking over everything that I said and trying to pawn me back off on your officers. This is one of the reasons that I try to record everything.
That you can provide me right now?
Yes, sir. It's that well, I'm actually recording now, so we aren't able to hide anything that's being said, and that's useful for both of us. As far as the issues with your officers, they started in August, I believe, September and August of 2022. And that was very specifically Lynn Lothman and Trent Olson. Now, when I had to turn in the assault by Dr. Stephanides at the hospital in January of last year, Trent Olson is the officer I had to try to turn it into. As always, they wouldn't allow me to make a paper report at that time, told me that I just tell them and they'll write it down. He only wrote down maybe 3 words whatsoever, and then he disappeared. As far as disabled and at-risk adults go, which I am, they're supposed to work together with the social services agency, and instead those social services agencies, including TFCC, are just taking advantage of me to get government funds. That's not okay.
I have no control over those agencies.
Well, you do have control over whether or not your officers are pawning victims off onto those agencies rather than doing their jobs, taking a report of abuse.
Those are community partners that we refer to. So that is either an administrative rule, it's through ORS, or it's through agreements that we have with those partners.
But if I'm assaulted,
how they control their staff.
If I'm assaulted, is it appropriate? If I'm assaulted, is it appropriate for your officers to pawn me off on TFCC?
We will take the assault report, and if
well, they didn't take the assault report. They sent me to TFCC repeatedly, or bullied me, or called me a liar. I have the recordings of that. The problem is,
Sean, this is all the same stuff that we've already talked about earlier today. And so I appreciate you reaching out. And like I told you, I will be in contact with you after Wednesday when I get to talk to Sergeant Harrell and Sergeant Hollis about all this. But at this point, I'm not hearing any new information.
You're not hearing any information. You're talking over me and telling me that you heard stuff earlier. Earlier, I was trying to fill you in on details. At least this time I have the ability to fucking record it, but he just hung up. See, he don't want to fucking hear a goddamn thing I have to say. He's just going to be a bully. This is absolutely not necessary. He can't take my report until after he talks to Harold and that other idiot? Really? I'm not allowed to tell him what's going on without being talked over and disrespected? He wants to talk about what we talked about earlier. Prove it. Send me the recording, douchebag. The guy's not fucking interested in doing his goddamn job. Any more than these people who work at the library give a fuck about a homeless person's goddamn safety. This Troxell dumbass wanted to talk over every goddamn thing I said earlier, and here he wants to talk over me again. As far as the evidence goes, he's not going to hear my side. He's going to talk over literally everything that I say. He's going to play stupid and retarded like he just did, and then insinuate that he did things that he didn't. They made zero effort in all of this time. And then he wants to interrupt me to say, oh, new stuff. How about we address the fact that you pawned me off to begin with? How about you allow me to tell you what's going on without being a disrespectful fuckhead? Hello, your interim police chief is seriously testing my patience as well as creating a safety issue for myself and my loved ones. I'm not okay with this.
Okay, I'm sorry, Sean. What is he doing?
Well, ma'am, he wanted to talk over me and be extremely disrespectful rather than taking the information that I had to give. He also didn't want to make any effort to understand that now that I have the ability to record him, it's probably a little bit more appropriate to have the conversation. Anytime that anybody can get me alone where I'm not able to record it is a safety issue because all they have to do is call me mentally ill and they automatically win. It's their word versus mine. In addition to the fact that this dude is a police officer, so it's just assumed that he must be telling the truth, like he took this oath and now he's Mighty Mouse, and that is for surely not the case. The fact is, I've been trying to turn in the crimes committed against me by the local community, and that includes police officers since I got here. He's trying to pawn me off onto the police officers that I'm trying to turn in and pretending like that's an acceptable thing to do. They had plenty of time to investigate all of these crimes in the past and chose not to. Unfortunately, that resulted in more abuse against me, as well as some pretty screwed up interpersonal relationships that shouldn't have ended up pretty screwed up. Now, it's difficult for a person and their friends to be able to make a report, especially if it's long distance. And when the police are telling the other witnesses that they can't make a report for someone else, the fact is that person is a witness. All right. So they're not making a report for someone else. They're making a witness statement. The other thing is, I've repeatedly tried making witness statements. I've written it down, even though it takes me forever because I have nerve damage from assault by police officers. And then, of course, I can't say that without these police officers lying and claiming that I'm accusing them of being the ones who assaulted me, because that's not the case. Now, the whole problem with this here is that it's been 18 months worth of word games, 18 months of cops playing stupid, 18 months of me taking assaults, 18 months of me spending all of my disability money to run around to a bunch of services that are supposed to help stop abuse, for them to do nothing but eat up all of my money and then tell me that they're free services. They're not free services. It costs me money to go there. I'm also disabled, so I literally have to spend my disability money to pay people to help me with things that I wouldn't have to pay people to help me with if I was allowed to stay in my own place, which is what I had before Natalie Bollinger was killed. Then there's the fact that I got to listen to this guy, Troxell, a guy who has knowingly, willingly, and intelligently lied to multiple witnesses who have called stuff in, and he'll talk to them eventually, but only if you can catch them alone or pull them off to the side. Meanwhile, he didn't bother calling me until today. What's that about? Then there's the part where I'm getting bullied about having restricted numbers that call me to threaten my life and threaten my sister's life all the time. So then, of course, getting bullied by the officers because I wasn't able to answer because it was a restricted call and it's blocked on my phone and he wants to tell me to unblock it. Well, they could easily call me from a desk phone, which is something that multiple people at the 911 and at Tillamook Dispatch Non-Emergency have suggested and claim that the officers will do. But then when the officers call me, what do? When the officer, what was his name? Neubauer, night before last night, when I was transferred to him from dispatch because obviously the calling me from a restricted number wasn't working. It wasn't even getting through to me. So instead of him listening to understand the situation, he wanted to yell at me and treat me like crap and hang up on me. Meanwhile, I just got hung up on Troxell because he didn't want to hear what I had to say about his crooked department either.
Okay. Well, Sean, I did get a phone call from Lacey, who works at the office, right before you called in just now. And I do have some information to pass along to you so that we can hopefully remedy all of this that's going on.
All right, I found a pen too, by the way.
I'm sorry, say that again, I didn't hear you.
I found a pencil too, by the way. That's one of the things I was looking for.
I do want you to have that because I'm going to give you an email and a phone number. The email is what
all right, hold on. You said Lindsay?
Lacey. L-A-C-E-Y. She works in the office there at the Tillamook City Police Department.
Yes, ma'am.
And the phone number to get to her, it's going to go to a phone tree, but if you push 0, it will get to her. The phone number for that is the 503-842-2522. Did you get that?
Okay.
Okay. And the email that they're telling me to give to you, they said that they want you to submit it to whatever you're trying to report, submit it to that email, and it's investigation. Do you want me to spell that?
INVESTIGATION.
Yes, correct. And then at tillamookor.gov. So Tillamook and OR together and then .gov.
All right, ma'am, one of the issues that I'm having here now is that I can't trust any of your officers and the evidence that I have to send to their wrongdoing. How do I know who it's going to? This would be a lot different story if they'd have done this right from the very start. But the other thing is I literally don't have a place to go through literally thousands of hours of evidence now. Thousands of hours. I don't have a place to do that.
Okay, 1 second. Let me talk to my partner and see if she knows where that email goes to, because we talked. 1 second, okay? Okay, are you still there, Sean?
Yeah.
Okay, so that email that I gave you, my partner said it's going to go to, it sounds like all of the people that are management at the Tillamook City Police. So that would go to, it sounds like, Troxell and whoever his second is, which I don't know for, and then it's also the city manager, it sounds like, possibly. So it kind of goes to an email, then it sends it to other people as well. So it kind of like is a funnel email, if that makes sense to you. So it
Yes,
gets
ma'am.
sent to
One of the things I'm trying to explain to you is the sheer volume of evidence I have to go through. All right. When I turn this stuff in, mandated reporters, when you're a disabled adult, mandated reporters are supposed to take it seriously and they're supposed to begin an investigation immediately if it's a credible allegation. And I'm not telling them that it's fairies and rainbows doing these things.
Yeah.
So it wasn't taken seriously the first time, the second time, or the third time. I don't get any sleep because these very same predators come by my vehicle and harass me nightly. All right, even on the nights that they don't harass me, I still have to worry about it because they do it nightly. I don't get hardly any sleep. I don't have any friends. I'm stuck here. I don't want to be here. With officers asking me questions like, well, why don't you just move somewhere else? I can't afford to move somewhere else. No matter where I go, I'm bullied. Now, as far as this investigation stuff, when I first got to this town, I tried to turn this stuff in with Molly. I tried to turn the stuff in with Farnsworth. What needs to be turned in now is the inappropriate actions of the police when I tried to turn it in.
Okay. And I think that's why they made that email, is they're trying to figure out a way so that way it gets taken care of, if that makes sense. So they're trying to remedy the situation that they've caused for you. So they do want you to email what you have to that email.
I need a place where I can sit down and do that. I still don't have one. I can't do it from my phone.
Okay, I remember when we talked last week, you said you were working at the library to do that. Can you go there?
Ma'am, I'm literally in the library right now. I only get 3 hours per day. I mean, I literally have 9 minutes until my 3 hours is up. I have literally dozens of phone calls that I need to make just today alone. I have to make phone calls to Social Security Disability, and I can't do that. I have to make phone calls to Northwest Senior and Disability Services, even though they say I'm not disabled. So then I have to make calls to TFCC. Meanwhile, I have to try to turn in TFCC, and I have to try to turn in the situations that have gone on with the police officers, and I have to find all of this evidence, and I have to go through and sort through all of it. Meanwhile, I also have to do this stuff for the state of Colorado and the state of Nebraska, and I can't even feed myself. I don't have any money to feed myself the rest of the month. I don't have any money to pay my insurance for my vehicle because all of this stuff that I've been forced to jump through for the last 18 months, it all costs money, and it all costs money that I can't get back. My vehicle no longer runs from people beating on it. I can't keep myself out of the weather from people beating on it. I can't close my door from people beating on it. I need a safe place to sit down with this stuff, and not just 3 hours at a time. It takes longer than that. Now, if I had my own home like I did before Natalie died, I was in assisted living in Nebraska. Now, if I'd have still been in assisted living in Nebraska when Natalie Bollinger was killed, then I would have been able to have a place to defend myself. Instead, I had to depend on drug addicts.
I'm so sorry, Sean. That sounds like a lot.
It would have been a lot easier if it would have just been done the right way to begin with. I am no longer safe because of the community and community members. I also no longer have the ability to go through all of the evidence because there is too much, and I am in a constant state of panic about my things being stolen and being abused more because nobody has stopped it yet.
Okay.
I'm scared and I can't function because of that. I'm scared for a reason. It's not because I'm some paranoid, delusional schizophrenic. I'm scared because people keep hurting me.
No, I understand, Sean.
Also, I'm afraid of getting kicked out of the library because I got too loud. And that's one of the things, it's an autistic trait. Not always. It's also a PTSD trait. It's also very specifically a sign that a male is being abused. It's when he obviously, that's not something you're allowed to say because any man who raises his voice is being abusive and he's yelling at you, and that's how we're supposed to interpret it.
I don't think that. I don't think that at all, Sean. I definitely, I've talked to you a few times. I talked to you last week, and so you're very apologetic when you raise your voice because like the traffic's going by, anything like that. So I know that's not what you're trying to do, or it might come across that way, but I know that's not, what you're meaning to do, if that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am. I do want to say there's a noise I make. It sounds like I'm moaning, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And that's an autistic trait as well, especially when we're in a state of panic.
Yeah, like calm you down and
Yes, ma'am.
kind of.
It's a type of stimming. Yes, ma'am. There's also the
Yeah.
things that are supposed to help me regulatory stimming, like being able to listen to music or playing video games. And I don't
Mhm.
have the ability to do either one of those things when I have to constantly try to conserve my battery for in case somebody puts a rock through my window or shoots somebody in front of me or, something like that.
Mhm.
And there's been a couple of real big scares here where, although it turned out just to be BB guns, it was a scary situation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Sean,
I know you're gonna have to let me go. You probably have an emergency call.
I do, but I want to make sure that if there's anything else I can help with before I help out my partner with the emergencies that are going on right now.
I need some emergency shelter for tonight with me and my stuff.
Okay.
Uh,
Is there? Do you know of a place that we can get you through to help with that? Like, does CARE help with that? Do you know?
no, ma'am. None of the places that I've been sent to that are supposed to help with that do. CARE did help with helping some people during one of the winter storms to get some rooms, but it was primarily just the really bad addicts that ended up going there first. I heard
Uh
about it
huh.
after they were already finished doing it. There's also supposed to be funds for victims of domestic abuse and also uh, at risk and disabled adults who are on the streets and being systemically abused or abused on the streets. But
Mhm.
the DA's office has not acknowledged me as a victim, and as a result, they won't release any of the funds for victims' rights. And I also don't have a victims' rights advocate.
Okay, Sean, can you give me 1 second? I need to help page out some help. 1 second, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 1 second.
When they say that they gotta go, I do tell them to go save a life. I mean, that's pretty important. But also part of saving a life is preventive measures. They're gonna kick me out of the library if I keep having panic attacks here. The library staff are all nice people. None of them are hateful. None of them. But they also don't understand the situation. And that's, you see, I gotta come here tomorrow and try to do this because it's 2:58. My time here's up. I don't have the ability to edit this shit to put it through the internet. And that's also stuff that'd be nice if someone would sit down and learn this stuff with me. Okay, it'd be nice to be able to just do it this easy. Some of it I can, some of it I can't. People say, why don't you get a job? Well, because first of all, it takes me 10 times longer to do something because of my physical disabilities. It takes me 10 times longer to get there because of my physical disabilities. And that's only if I can mentally handle it without breaking down. How many of these people's numbers that I posted up? How many of them?
Sean, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry. We got a little busy. So when you left off, you said you're needing some emergency staying. Is there? So we were talking about care wasn't able to assist you. Is that something maybe we can see if we can get you into Helping Hands for the day?
Ma'am, I've been to Helping Hands. That was a horrible place. I'm not a drug addict, and being bullied by a bunch of drug addicts doesn't make any sense as far as helping somebody who's suffering from severe PTSD, you know? I mean, I don't get loud because I hate people. I get loud because I've got severe PTSD and I'm scared. But the people at Helping Hands, there's a lady there named Grace. She's really super nice, and she's also not stupid, which is helpful. But at the same time, she doesn't get to decide how the other staff interact or how the other people there interact. So I ended up getting bullied there the whole time I was there. As far as an emergency place, for somebody who's autistic, we have to get away from the stimuli. That means being in an environment where it's constantly loud, or we can't control any of the stimuli at all. Like, for example, when you're at somebody's house and you're snowed in there, and the only thing they want to watch is a show about clowns killing people, and you've either A, seen it 100 times before, or B, it really creeps you out, or C, it's been playing for 3 days and it just drives you nuts. That's kind of what it's like for me. There's hotels here, but I don't have the ability to travel to any of them with my stuff because my car's broken. I have the ability to walk somewhere on foot, but anything more than half a mile is too much for me. I've been walking all day long, which is something that the doctors told me I'm not supposed to do. Don't get me wrong, they didn't tell me not to walk. They told me not to overexert. I'm gonna get in trouble here because of
No, you're fine.
not by you, but by the library. I got too loud earlier. That's one of the things with noise regulation. It's difficult to do. Like I was telling you earlier, a lot of your coworkers have actually hung up on me because of that issue.
Okay.
I've also had a lot of them accuse me of yelling at them because I was, what's the word I'm going to use? Emphasis. So it's not that I was yelling or even raising the level of my voice. It's that I was uh, speaking sharper or in a slightly different. I'm sorry. I guess it's not an important explanation.
Okay. All right, Sean. I'm so sorry. I do have to disconnect. We are getting a little bit busy.
Yes, ma'am. Save some lives.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sean. If you find a place that we can probably get you into emergency shelter, let me know if I can assist. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks. Bye, Sean.
Bye. I don't have the resources for this. I can't go through all this fucking evidence. I need a place to do it. I need some peace and quiet. I need to be able to sit down and listen to some music other than everybody else's streaming hate crap. I need to be able to do this crap in private. They need to recognize and understand my disabilities. You see somebody in a wheelchair, it's pretty easy to tell they're not going to be able to get their way up them stairs. Well, you know what? If they got degenerative disc disease, they had problems getting up them stairs well before they were ever in a wheelchair. 17% battery. Jesus. It's not charging up very quick. Meanwhile, I gotta go. My time's up. No, I'm not gonna be able to send anything across email. I'll just keep asking if I can do it across my phone. No, I can't. If I could, I wouldn't be keeping on saying I have to be in the library with my computer. No, Helping Hands is not a safe place. It's not an appropriate place for a victim of abuse like this to have to go. There is no safe place for me to work on my computer. There is no quiet place for me to work on these things. The place, just like everywhere else out here, caters to drug addicts. And who do drug addicts cater to? I didn't get show any evidence on here, did I? I gotta make phone calls, and I can't do that unless I can record it. I don't really have the ability to do that now, do I? I don't have enough money to eat. Gotta go out and panhandle for food. Meanwhile, the hours I gotta panhandle, those are also the hours the library's open. Am I gonna make anything after 6 p.m.? No. That lady said they do want to work to remedy the situation. I hope that's true. But if that's the case, they need to get a hold of the newspaper and apologize to the entire community for the shit that I've had to go through and the things that they've had to go through as well. Do you think this shit's easy for them? Do you think it's easy for Jordan and Jason to have to listen to me screaming in my car because people are beating on my vehicle and putting rocks through my window, or getting a hold of me telling me they're going to rape and kill my sister? You think their kids want to hear that? You think their kids want to hear people screaming the N-word at the window at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning? You think Candace Bondurant wanted to be intimidated by the police? No, she didn't. You think Candy wanted her phone number all over the internet? No, she didn't. Who is it that posted her number on the internet? Me. I'd rather have the cops just do their jobs. I can't function anymore. All of the services that I was eligible for, well, most of them, the moment you become homeless, you're no longer eligible for them. The assistance that I was getting in trying to become unhomeless, I finally got into low-income housing in Chapel, Nebraska. They put me in assisted living. But that assisted living, that's not the same thing as being able to take care of yourself. It doesn't do anything for not being able to see your friends or family. It doesn't make it so you can go see Eric Christopher Schwartz in Boulder, Colorado. Iran Ingersoll in Cheyenne, Wyoming, or Nikki McIntosh in Sydney, Nebraska. I'm tired and I can't function anymore. I spent my night last night treating professionals the way that I'm treated. How does it feel? Obviously, they don't like it. Nobody likes being told to go themselves. You know how we end these videos? Good to be ready. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's keeper too, and no victim left behind. Candy's mad and she can stay mad. I'm allowed to make an oral report and I've tried. They won't listen. They say I gotta write it down. So I write it down. They still won't listen unless someone goes in with me. So I get somebody to promise they'll go in with me and they procrastinate over and over and over again. That was Candy and Nathan. And after all that procrastinating, what happened to the written reports that I'd made? They got soaked, moldy, and got thrown away. Anyway, I hopefully will be able to get 3 hours on tomorrow.